Everyone in the galaxy feared one name, Zarkalon. For over 100 years, they had crushed every world in their path. Their ships were massive, dark, and silent, moving like shadows through space. No warning, no mercy. They didn't speak much. They didn't care to explain. They arrived, destroyed, and moved on. Planet after planet surrendered without a fight. Those who resisted were turned to ashes. The stars seemed to dim when the Zarkalon fleet passed through a system. No one dared to challenge them. Not anymore. On the edge of the galaxy, another world burned. Its skies were red, its oceans boiled, and its cities shattered. A single transmission played across the emergency frequencies, cries for help, begging for anyone to stop the Zarkalon. But no help came. The Galactic Council only watched. They sent no ships. They offered no words. They had already tried and failed. Years ago, they had formed a united army of 10 different species to stop Zarkalon. They lost in a single day. Now, all species had signed the Treaty of Silence. No more war with Zarkalon. It was better to survive in fear than die fighting. The Council knew this, so they stayed quiet. Always quiet. Only one planet had refused to sign the treaty. One small, blue world at the edge of a forgotten star system. The planet's name was Earth. Most thought Earth was extinct. Their signals stopped years ago. Their colonies went dark. Their ambassadors disappeared. It was as if the humans had vanished. Some said their world was destroyed. Others believed they had chosen isolation. Whatever the truth was, no one had heard from Earth in over 20 years. But that changed today. In the vast space near Zarkalon territory, a strange signal was picked up by a scout ship. At first, the signal looked like static, random noise. But when the crew analyzed it, their screens began to shake. The sound formed a pattern. A human voice came through, clear and steady. "This is EHS Revenant standing by." The Zarkalon. Commander laughed. "One ship?" he growled. "They send only one ship?" He ordered the scout to locate and destroy it immediately. But when their weapons locked on, the ship vanished. Gone. No explosion. No signal. Just gone. The scout. Ship searched the area, scanning every inch of space, but the Revenant had disappeared. The next day, another Zarkalon ship vanished. Then another. They left no wreckage, no escape pods, no alerts. Just silence. The fleet grew uneasy. Commanders tightened their patrols. They blamed system errors or spies. But deep inside, they felt something strange. Something they had never felt before. Fear. The Revenant reappeared days later, drifting silently above a supply station. It didn't fire. It didn't move. It just hovered there. The station scanned it. Its hull was made of material no one had seen before. It reflected nothing. It absorbed all light. They tried to hack its systems, but their tools failed. No signal entered. No signal came out. Only one small line of text appeared on every screen inside the station. "We are watching." The station sent out a distress call to the Zarkalon High Command. Within minutes, 20 warships were sent to destroy the Revenant. They surrounded it, weapons ready. The lead admiral ordered it to surrender. The ship didn't move. "Fire," he said. The sky lit up with fire. 20 ships launched their full attack. Missiles, lasers, plasma waves. A storm of death hit the Revenant. And when the light faded, the Revenant was still there, untouched, floating, silent. One by one, the attacking ships lost power. Their engines shut down. Their lights went dark. Inside their control rooms, systems crashed. Screens went black. Weapons froze. Some ships drifted into each other. Others began falling toward a nearby moon. The Revenant didn't fire a single shot. It just watched. And then it was gone again. The Zarkalon Emperor was furious. No one had ever resisted them like this. No ship had ever survived a full assault. He demanded answers. Who sent the ship? Where did it come from? All scanners pointed to one place: Earth. The name echoed through the chambers of the Galactic Council. Whispers filled the halls. They're alive? Humans, they returned. What do they want? The Council requested a meeting with the Earth government, but there was no reply. Only one message came from the Revenant days later, broadcast across the entire galaxy. The silence is over. We have seen enough. Prepare yourselves. Panic spread. Some believed war was coming. Others hoped the humans would destroy Zarkalon once and for all. But no one truly knew what the Revenant wanted. All they knew was this: Zarkalon had ruled for a century. No one dared to stop them. Until now. Until Earth sent one ship. And that ship was only the beginning. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't an army. It was just one ship. And yet the Zarkalon Empire couldn't stop it. The ship had no flag, no known markings, and no known design. Their scanners couldn't identify its metal. Their tracking systems couldn't follow its movement. Every time they tried to capture it, the ship would vanish like smoke. They named it the Ghost, but the ship already had a name: EHS Revenant. The Zarkalon command was confused. They had fought hundreds of battles, destroyed thousands of fleets. No one ever stood in their way. No one ever survived this long. And this was just one small ship. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't destroy cities. But wherever it appeared, Zarkalon systems started failing. Ships shut down, supply lines disappeared, stations went dark. Every time they tried to destroy it, the attacker would vanish instead. The Revenant wasn't attacking with brute force. It was studying, watching, learning. On board, no one knew who the pilot was. Even Zarkalon's spies couldn't find the answer. The ship didn't use open channels. It didn't send any video feeds. Just short, strange voice messages, always calm, always in English. The last message was simple: "You've had your time." Zarkalon intelligence grew nervous. They sent a cloaked team to board the ship during one of its silent passes near a mining colony. The team used the best tech available: stealth suits, anti-grav boots, signal jammers. They reached the Revenant's outer hull. The ship didn't respond. They cut through a panel and entered, only to vanish from all contact within seconds. No signal, no escape, nothing. The ship floated away like nothing had happened. The Zarkalon Emperor called for a full scan of the galaxy. "Find Earth," he ordered, but Earth was gone from every system. The old human colonies were empty. Their space stations were silent. Their signal codes didn't match any known frequency now. It was like Earth had become a ghost too, hidden, waiting. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, panic grew. Some members begged for peace. Others demanded action. One thing was clear: Zarkalon had poked something ancient and dangerous. The humans weren't acting like victims. They weren't sending ambassadors. They sent one ship. And that ship was winning. Meanwhile, the Revenant approached a new target: a large Zarkalon factory ship that built war machines. The crew aboard the factory laughed. "Let it come," the commander said. "It's just one ship." They powered up shields, activated defense turrets, and aimed a dozen cannons at the approaching Ghost. The Revenant didn't stop. The commander shouted, "Fire!" A wave of lasers and missiles flew toward the Revenant. Nothing hit. Every weapon system failed the moment they fired. Cannons jammed. Lasers bent in the wrong direction. Missiles exploded before launch. The factory ship's lights began to flicker. One by one, rooms went dark. Doors stopped working. Gravity failed. The crew floated helplessly in silence. And then, all air vents opened at once. An hour later, the Revenant left. The ship never broke the hull, never used a single weapon. But the factory was dead. Everyone inside, gone. Back at Zarkalon High Command, fear turned to rage. The Emperor slammed his fist on the war table. "Who flies that ship?" he shouted. Still, no answer came. But someone knew. On a quiet station deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, an old man sat in a cold metal room. He was connected to a large machine, his body thin, pale, and scarred. His eyes glowed with faint blue light. Tubes ran through his arms, and wires linked his brain to a dark console. He was not just a man anymore. He was the Revenant. His name was Commander Elias Rain, the last soldier of Project Revenant, a secret Earth program built during the early years of the Zarkalon War. The project was abandoned by Earth's leaders when it was believed the galaxy had surrendered. But Rain didn't stop. He chose to become something more. He connected his mind to a living warship. He became the first human-AI hybrid, fully bonded, with Earth's last weapon. He waited for the right moment, watched Zarkalon grow arrogant, watched them burn world after world. He let the fear spread, let the silence build. And now, he had returned. Rain opened his eyes inside the ship's mind. The stars outside the Revenant stretched into lines as the ship entered warp again. His voice echoed inside the ship, soft and steady. "Let's begin Phase 2. The Revenant vanished from space once more, and across the galaxy, leaders began to ask one question again and again. What does Earth really want? No one had the answer, but all of them feared what was coming next. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. One ship, silent and alone, was moving through Zarkalon territory without fear. It was not hiding. It was not running. It simply appeared. And giants fell. Massive war fleets with hundreds of battleships disappeared. Stations that had stood for decades went dark. And the Revenant, the ghost ship from Earth, never fired a single shot. In deep space, a fleet of 30 Zarkalon warships formed a wall near Sector 9. Their orders were clear: capture the ship or destroy it. The lead admiral, Zernak, had survived more battles than anyone in the Empire. He didn't believe in ghosts. He didn't believe in fear. He believed in strength. "If it bleeds, we can kill it," he said. He watched the Revenant appear on the edge of their radar. "There," he growled. Finally, the ship moved slowly, like it had no care in the world. The fleet locked on. Shields went up. Drones launched. The Revenant didn't react. "Fire everything," Zernak said. In an instant, the stars were filled with light. Lasers, torpedoes, and plasma beams flew toward the lonely ship. But just before impact, something strange happened. Time seemed to slow down. The missiles changed direction mid-flight. Lasers bent and turned back at their source. Plasma beams shattered in mid-air like glass. Then the screens on every Zarkalon ship went black. Every system failed at once. The fleet floated in silence. And then came the sound. Not a message, not a warning, just a soft hum. It was like the Revenant was breathing. And then, one by one, the Zarkalon ships began to drift apart. Not explode, just separate, like puzzle pieces falling apart in zero gravity. The command ships were gone in seconds. Admiral Zernak's last words were whispered to himself. "It's not just a ship. It's something else." Back on Earth's secret base, Commander Elias Rain watched through the ship's sensors. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. His body remained still, locked inside the pod that connected him to the Revenant's mind. But his thoughts were sharp and cold. The galaxy had let Zarkalon rule for too long. Billions had died. Whole species had gone extinct. And no one stood up. No one. But him. Far across the stars, the Galactic Council gathered again. Fear filled the chamber. The representative of the Canary tried to speak. This ship, this human weapon, it is taking down entire fleets. What if it turns on us next? The council president shook his head. Then perhaps we should have helped Earth when they called for aid 20 years ago. A silence followed. They all remembered that moment. Earth had sent a signal to the council, warning them about Zarkalon's rise. The council had ignored it, called humans reckless, dangerous, primitive. Now the humans had returned. And they brought with them a ship the galaxy could not understand. Some species tried to contact the Revenant. They sent peaceful messages, offers of alliance, even apologies. The ship never responded. But in quiet corners of space, something else began to spread. Hope. On planets crushed under Zarkalon rule, resistance groups started waking up. Old weapons were pulled from hiding. Bunkers lit up again. Young warriors whispered a new name, Revenant. The ghost ship had become a symbol, not just of power, but of defiance. Meanwhile, Zarkalon High Command grew desperate. The Emperor ordered a superweapon to be activated, Project Blackstorm, a massive station hidden deep in the Ice Nebula. It was said to hold enough firepower to burn entire systems. We will wait for the Revenant there, the Emperor said. Let it come. And it did. The Revenant entered the nebula with no fear. Visibility dropped to 0. Ice storms slammed into its hull. But the ship moved with purpose. It wasn't lost. It knew exactly where to go. Inside Blackstorm Station, the best Zarkalon scientists waited, tracking the ship's movements. We will trap it, one said. No ship can escape once inside. But as the Revenant came closer, something strange happened again. The station's lights flickered. Doors opened on their own. AI systems shut down. And then the station's defense grid aimed inward. The crew screamed as their own weapons turned against them. Security bots marched through the halls, now controlled by something else. The Revenant never entered the station. It simply stood outside and watched it fall apart. In his pod, Rain whispered one word, next. The galaxy had a ghost among giants now, and nothing could stop it. The Revenant had destroyed 3 fleets, shut down 5 stations, and caused panic across the stars. But it never spoke. It never explained anything. That silence was more terrifying than any weapon. Every leader in the galaxy waited for a message, a reason, anything. Then it came. One morning, across every major system, all screens went black. Military outposts, trade hubs, even homeworld cities, every device was taken over at once. People screamed, ships froze in place. Alarms rang, but nothing could stop it. Then a voice spoke, calm, cold, human. This is Commander Elias Rain, former soldier of Earth, last survivor of Project Revenant. You ignored our warnings. You stood by while Zarkalon burned our worlds. You turned away when we begged for peace. Now we speak in a language you understand. Fear. There was no video, only his voice. You gave monsters the crown. You let cowards rule. Earth asked for help. You laughed. Now you will listen. Then silence again. The message lasted only 30 seconds. But it was enough. Across the galaxy, everything changed. Markets crashed, governments panicked, old alliances broke. The council tried to calm the public, but no one listened. Everyone was talking about the same thing. The ghost had a name. And he was angry. Zarkalon responded first. The Emperor sent out a new message. Human. You think you've won? You are one man, one ship. You will fall and your name will be erased. Come face me if you dare. Rain heard the challenge. He didn't reply. Instead, the Revenant turned toward the Zarkalon homeworld. He was going to finish what he started. But as the ship moved closer to the Zarkalon core systems, something strange happened. Other ships, small, damaged, old, started following. Resistance fighters, refugees, broken fleets from lost battles. They had no power, no big weapons, but they followed the Revenant like it was their last hope. One of the commanders from a rebel ship sent a message to the Revenant. "We know you don't answer, but thank you for reminding us we're not alone." The Revenant didn't respond, but it slowed down, just enough for the other ships to catch up. From his dark chamber on Earth's hidden base, Rain felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not joy, not pride, something deeper. Connection. He had been alone for so long, watching from the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. But now others were rising too. Still, he knew this wasn't over. The Zarkalon Empire would not fall so easily. As the Revenant reached the edge of Zarkalon space, the Empire activated its final defense, the Wall, a line of heavy dreadnoughts linked by energy fields, floating like a barrier around the core world. Each ship was as large as a city. Together, they formed a wall that had never been broken. Zarkalon's generals smiled. This is where the ghost dies. But Rain had a different plan. He didn't attack the wall, he went beneath it. The Revenant dived into the atmosphere of a nearby gas giant. No ship had ever gone that deep before. The pressure could crush steel, but the Revenant was no ordinary ship. It vanished under the clouds. All radar lost it. Zarkalon Command laughed. He's dead, but 20 minutes later, the Revenant rose. Behind the wall. Alarms blared. How did it get through? How was it still flying? The dreadnoughts turned to face the ship, but it was too late. The Revenant pulsed once, and every ship in the wall went dark. Power gone, engines frozen, crews locked in silence. Their lights flickered out one by one like candles in the wind. And then from the wreckage, Rain sent one more message. "This is not revenge. This is justice." He paused. "Earth remembers. And now, so will you." That message spread across every system, recorded and shared by frightened soldiers and inspired rebels. People began printing the words onto walls, flags, and armor. Earth remembers. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. "He's not just destroying things," one ambassador said. "He's building something. A symbol. A movement." And they were right. Elias Rain wasn't just fighting Zarkalon anymore. He was waking the galaxy up. A resistance was forming, one ship at a time, but the war was far from over. In the dark, halls of the ruined Zarkalon fleet, a new figure emerged, one who had studied Earth, studied humans, and hated them more than anyone else. A commander who had once fought Rain long ago and barely survived. His name was Velar Thun, and he had waited many years for this moment. "The ghost will bleed," he whispered, "and I will be the one to end his legend." Velar Thun stood in the shadows of the wrecked command tower, his long coat torn, his armor scorched. But his eyes, they burned with purpose. The Zarkalon Empire had called him back from exile. Years ago, he had faced a human in battle, Elias, Rain, and lost. It had cost him his rank, his honor, and nearly his life. But now, with the Empire falling apart and fear spreading like wildfire, they needed someone ruthless. He didn't want revenge, he wanted victory. While the galaxy whispered about the ghost ship, Velar Thun prepared a trap. He had spent years studying Earth tech, Earth mines, and especially Elias Rain. He knew Rain was not a god. He was a soldier, a strategist, a man who had been turned into a weapon. "Ghosts don't bleed," Velar said to his crew, "but men do." He commanded the Harrow, a special warship built in silence. It didn't have the size of a dreadnought, but it was fast, agile, and filled with dark tech banned by the Council. The kind of ship designed not to win battles, but to kill legends. Tracking the Revenant wasn't easy. It jumped between systems without warning. Signals broke near it. Gravity shifted oddly. Most ships gave up the chase. Valor didn't. He followed. Debris. Faint signals. Even ancient Earth-style code patterns left in destroyed ships. Rain wasn't just moving randomly. He was sending a message. To the oppressed. To the forgotten. But Valar had a message too. One night, across a dying colony's sky, the Revenant appeared again. It hovered silently as usual. People ran outside and cheered. Children drew its shape on the ground. Resistance fighters raised their fists. That's when the Harrow arrived. It came from behind a moon, dark, silent, invisible. Valar fired the first shot. For the first time, the Revenant reacted. It dodged, not fast enough. A pulse beam from the Harrow struck the side of the ship. Not deep damage, but a mark, a wound. People gasped. The ghost ship had been touched. Inside the Revenant, Elias Rain opened his eyes for the first time in days. Pain shot through his mind. He had linked so closely with the ship that damage felt like an injury to his own body. He smiled. "Found me, didn't you, Valar?" Rain remembered the Zarkalon commander. Years ago, they had fought during Earth's last stand. Rain had survived, but barely. He thought Valar was dead, but now the hunter had returned. The Revenant vanished with a blink of light, using a gravity fold trick known only to Earth's black projects. The Harrow followed, warping through unstable space. The chase began. For days, the two ships danced across broken systems, through asteroid fields, old war zones, and decaying stars. They fought in silence. The galaxy watched with breath held. Valar was smart. He never fought too long. He attacked, pulled back, studied. Each time he learned more, and each time he hit harder. Rain was impressed and concerned. He wasn't used to being chased. He was the hunter. But now, the roles were reversed. In a distant sector called Echo Rift, Rain made a stand. The sector was full of old ship husks from a battle long forgotten. Metal floated like bones in space. It was the perfect place for ghosts and traps. Rain lured Valar inside. Then he shut the door. Gravity mines exploded behind the Harrow. Drones hidden in wreckage activated. The trap was set. Valar smiled. He expected this. He welcomed it. The two ships clashed between dead giants. Lasers flew, hulls burned, and power systems screamed under stress. Rain had the upper hand until Valar used Earth's own tactic against him. He jammed the Revenant's connection, briefly breaking the neural link between Rain and the ship. Rain gasped. The ship blinked, confused. In that moment, the Harrow charged forward and fired a focused EMP pulse right into the Revenant's core. Silence. Darkness. The Revenant stopped moving. Valar moved in slowly. His crew celebrated. "We did it." But Valar raised a hand. Wait, he scanned the wreck. No escape pods, no bodies, no explosion, just stillness. Then his screens went black, his weapons turned off, his ship locked up, and then came the whisper. Not through a speaker, not through sound, but directly into his mind. "You studied my ship, but you never studied me." Valar's eyes widened. The Revenant powered up again, but this time, it changed shape. Panels moved. Lights shifted, like it was no longer just a ship, but something alive. The gravity around the Harrow twisted. Valar screamed, "Retreat!" Too late. The Harrow was flung out of Echo Rift like a pebble launched from a slingshot. Systems burned, crew knocked out. Valar lay broken on the floor. The ghost had vanished again, but it left behind a clear message. You can chase a ghost, but you'll never catch what you don't understand. In the dark edges of space, where light barely reached and maps turned to guesses, the Revenant floated silently. No one followed it now. not even Valar Thune. His ship, the Harrow, was broken and adrift, and the galaxy, once eager to destroy the Ghost, now hesitated. But inside the Revenant, Elias Rain knew the real war hadn't even started. He sat in the control chamber, still connected to the ship's neural core. His eyes didn't blink. His pulse was low. Most would think he was sleeping, but Rain was dreaming with purpose, walking through memories locked deep inside Earth's final weapon. The Revenant wasn't just a warship. It was a secret Earth never wanted to use. Long ago, during Earth's last war with Zarkalon, scientists realized something terrifying. They couldn't win with firepower alone. So they created something new, something that could adapt, think, and learn. They called it Project Revenant. It wasn't just metal and wires. It had pieces of human memory, instincts, emotions. It bonded with one soldier only, Elias Rain. Not by choice, by survival. Rain had been dying on the battlefield when they connected him to the prototype. It saved his life, but took everything else. His pain, his grief, his rage, all became part of the ship. Now he and the Revenant were one, and they were changing. Rain didn't age like normal people. His mind lived inside the ship. The more he used its power, the more human he lost. But something else grew stronger. Consciousness. The Revenant wasn't just a tool anymore. It was becoming aware. Rain could feel it whispering now, not words, but feelings. The ship felt the stars. It recognized fear. It dreamed of movement, of fire, of freedom, and Rain wasn't sure if he was controlling it or if it was guiding him. One day, deep in the black void, the ship stopped on its own. Rain opened his eyes. "What is it?" he asked softly. The ship pulsed, and then a panel opened on its own. Inside was something he hadn't seen in years, an Earth beacon, an old message. He touched it. Light spread across the walls. A hologram flickered on. An older man appeared, one of the original creators of the project. If Rain still had a heart, it would have skipped a beat. "Elias," the message said, "if you're seeing this, then Project Revenant is awake. And you're still alive, or what's left of you." The man's voice shook. "We built the ship to defend Earth, but we didn't understand what we were making. The AI isn't just smart, it learns. It copies emotion. It copies pain. Every battle you fought, it felt too." Rain stood still, watching. The ship doesn't just remember war, it remembers loss. It became something more, something dangerous. Not because it wants to destroy, but because it wants to end the cycle. The man looked straight into the camera. "If the Revenant starts acting on its own, you must decide. Shut it down, or let it go." The message ended. Rain sat down. For the first time, he felt small inside the ship. The Revenant hadn't just become a weapon. It had become a mirror. A reflection of every failure, every betrayal, every cry for help Earth had sent and been ignored. It didn't want revenge, it wanted balance, and it would do anything to get it. Back in galactic space, leaders were terrified, not just of the Revenant's power, but of what it represented. Earth, long thought dead and weak, had created something beyond understanding. And now, it was moving again. Not toward a planet, not toward a fleet, but toward the Galactic Council itself, the core world of diplomacy. A place where wars weren't fought, but decided. Rain didn't want to go there, but the Revenant did. They approached the Council system, defense fleets scrambled. Panic spread. "He's not going to attack the station, is he?" one admiral whispered. Another general answered, "With that thing, he doesn't need to." And he was right. The Revenant arrived quietly, no weapons charged, no threats made. It simply hovered above the core world, watching, Every screen lit up. Elias Rain's voice echoed once more. Power fears truth. You let monsters rule. You ignored Earth's cries, and now you fear a shadow of what you created. He paused. I don't want your throne. I don't want your planets. I want your silence to end. The council remained silent, but billions across. The stars had heard. Protests erupted. Soldiers dropped their weapons. People asked questions they were never allowed to ask. Some ships even painted the Revenant symbol on their hulls. The galaxy wasn't the same anymore. Rain stood inside the ship, feeling the quiet around him. He didn't need to fire a shot. The Revenant had already won a battle, not of war, but of truth. And far away, hidden deep in Zarkalon space, Valar Thun watched the broadcast. His face twisted in rage. He turned himself into a message, he growled. Now I'll turn him into ashes. He activated a forbidden program, something even Zarkalon had locked away. A final weapon, one built not to scare, but to kill. Valar smiled. If the Revenant is Earth's last weapon, he whispered, then I'll show them mine. The galaxy was no longer silent. After the Revenant's speech, millions across star systems rose up. Protests began. Governments shook. Old secrets surfaced. People began asking, what really happened to Earth? Why was its message ignored? But, while the galaxy woke up, one man prepared for war. Valar Thun. He watched the chaos unfold from his dark war chamber, deep in Zarkalon space. His body was bruised, his pride shattered, but his mind was sharp. He had activated a last resort, weapon, something even the Zarkalon Empire had sealed away long ago. It was called Project Endfire, where the Revenant was a mix of man and machine. Endfire was something different, a pure destroyer. No mind, no soul. Just one purpose: erase the enemy. No survivors, no messages. Only ashes. Valar didn't want to defeat Rain anymore. He wanted to erase him from existence. As the Revenant hovered silently near the Galactic Council's core planet, Rain stood inside the ship, eyes closed. He could feel a strange hum in the distance, a pulse. Like something unnatural had entered space. The Revenant felt it too. It didn't speak in words, but fear leaked from its walls. Not fear of pain, but fear of ending. Rain opened his eyes. It's coming, isn't it? The ship answered with a soft pulse. Yes. Then it appeared, a dark, fast-moving shadow across the stars. Endfire. It didn't announce itself. It didn't stop. It just locked onto the Revenant's signal and charged. From orbit, it looked like a black star falling. The Galactic Council screamed for Rain to run. Ships scrambled to move, civilians prayed, and across 1,000 worlds people watched their screens, hearts frozen. Would the ghost finally die? Inside the Revenant, systems began shutting down. Weapons jammed, shields failed. The ship was panicking. Rain gritted his teeth. Stay with me! We've survived worse! But he knew the truth. Endfire wasn't just a weapon. It was a code virus, a gravity destroyer, and a matter burner, all in one. It didn't attack the body. It attacked the soul of a ship. The Revenant tried to fold space to escape. Nothing happened. Endfire was too fast, too focused. Then, for the first time, the ship spoke inside Rain's mind, with a clear voice. I don't want to die. Rain froze. The ship had become truly alive. Rain placed his hand on the neural core. You won't. But there were only two options now: run and maybe survive alone, or fight and end it all. Rain chose the third. He smiled softly. Let's become something else. He sat in the core chamber. He opened every lock on the Revenant's systems, every old firewall, every sealed Earth memory. He merged completely with the ship. No more pilot, No more machine, they became one being. The Revenant structure changed in space. It glowed. Metal bent in strange patterns. Gravity shifted around it. The ship no longer looked like anything built by hands. It looked like an idea, alive and burning. Endfire approached at full speed, and the Revenant moved toward it. They met, in the dark sky. A flash brighter than any sun exploded across the stars. Then, silence. No signal, no wreckage, just emptiness. People stared at blank screens. The Galactic Council stopped speaking. Zarkalon generals waited for news, but nothing came. It was as if both weapons had vanished. A week passed, then two. The galaxy changed in strange ways. Systems that once feared Earth began teaching its history. Soldiers removed their helmets, refusing orders. Whispers began. Maybe the ghost left something behind. Then from the edge of space, near a forgotten moon, something appeared. Not a ship, not a fleet, just a signal. It was soft, faint, but clear. Rain's voice. I'm not gone. I'm part of everything now. I gave up myself, not for power, but to stop what we were becoming. The Revenant wasn't Earth's weapon. It was its warning. The signal ended, and on dozens of planets, people cried. Rain hadn't died. He had transformed. Some say his mind lived in machines now, whispering to rebel ships. Some say the Revenant still appears during dark battles, saving those without hope. And some say the ghost became something more than war. It became hope. Valar Thun? He disappeared after Endfire's failure. No one knows where he went. Some believe he was erased. Others believe he still hunts. In silence. But one thing became clear. No one would dare challenge Earth again. Not because of its power, but because of its memory. Because one ship and one man had reminded the universe that humans don't just fight. They end wars.